Hi, I'm Jan. Welcome to another soldering video. Today we're going to be making this piece. For this project you will need one 35 by 22 millimeter heart-shaped stone. This is slightly pointed back. You will need one 35 by 22 millimeter setting, about 7 inches of 16SS rhinestone chain, and jump ring. This one is about 7 millimeter and is 20 gauge. I've already set my stone and rolled out some Play-Doh. I'm going to go ahead and place the stone. When you place the stone into the Play-Doh and you're dealing with rhinestone chain, you're going to have to make sure that the stone is down in the Play-Doh quite a bit, because the rhinestone chain needs to butt up next to the setting. So that's probably down there far enough. When you lay your rhinestone chain out, you don't want it to be down very far in the clay at all, because since they're so small, the Play-Doh will act as an insulation and it'll keep it from heating up. When you lay your rhinestone chain out, you want to get each piece as close together as possible, and also you want to get it as close to the setting as possible. So that the rhinestone chain comes to more of a point at the end, I'm going to go ahead and cut it. Before you start soldering, you want to make sure that your piece is level and that all your rhinestone chain is pretty well butted up next to each other. You don't want much of a gap, because you're going to have to solder through every one of these joints. So make sure it's level, that the rhinestone chain is close together, and that it's not too far down in the clay. When I solder on a piece like this, because the rhinestone chain is so light, if you don't have your torch high enough, or it hasn't gotten hot yet, when you touch that rhinestone chain it will lift. So generally I touch the larger setting first and then drag over to the rhinestone chain. That way I know that it's hot enough and I'm not going to lift the rhinestone chain. I'm going to go ahead and get started. And you don't have to solder completely. The solder doesn't have to be soldered, or it doesn't have to be soldered all the way around. The rhinestone chain does, but you can just tack in several places around the setting. you're finished soldering the rhinestone chain, you're going to want to lift it up and test it to make sure that the chain is solid. You don't want any of the joints to be loose, which this one is solid. And as you can see, I do have Play-Doh stuck in this, but that will wash off. I'm going to go ahead and add a jump ring before I clean this off. So before you add the jump ring, you want to push it back down into the clay and make sure nothing will be able to move. I'm going to use a third hand to attach jump ring. Just going to slide it in here. And I'm doing this jump ring slightly to the back and center, or top center of the stone. Just going to apply a little bit of heat and then dab with the solder wire. Should be good to go. I'll let this cool and clean it off, and I'll be right back. Okay, I have this piece cleaned up now, and if you'll notice, I soldered every joint on the rhinestone chain, but when it came to connecting to the setting, I soldered here and here and here, and then up the top, and then here and here and here. So it doesn't have to have solder all the way around the frame of the setting, just enough to make it sturdy. And here is our finished piece. And when I clean it, I keep a pick on hand to get down in here, especially with the rhinestone chain, because you will get Play-Doh down in the settings, and this helps to get the Play-Doh out. That with a little bit of warm water and a toothbrush will clean it right up. And after you've cleaned your piece, it's probably best to turn it over onto a paper towel or a cloth or something to make sure any water that could have gotten down in behind the stones will flow out from under the stones so it doesn't cloud your stones. And that is it. The next video that I do will probably be a bracelet incorporating rhinestone chain, and I think I'm going to do the framing as well as the links for the bracelet and the rhinestone chain. So thanks for watching our video. We'll see you next time. Thank you.